The thing about conspiracy theories and a lot of other mental bugs, I would say, is that it offers a very elaborate type of explanation, and the reason why people feel that this is supported is, I would say, because of this bug in our system, in our thinking. And you can kind of see it in action when you see how, for instance, conspiracy theorists react to contradictory evidence. So, for instance, if a witch hunter came across a person who did not confess even when tortured, the reason was that the devil was giving her strength. Or when the Nazis were confronted with the forgeries of the Protocols of Zion, they said this fits too well. Or when 9/11 truthers are confronted with physicists saying that their theories are wrong and impractical, and that the official explanation is solid, then the reaction is that the physicists are corrupt and part of the conspiration. So these kind of theories are very adaptable, you can say, and this is because they are very complicated, and the proponents of these theories do not allow for counter evidence, for anything that could falsify it. Whatever new discoveries are made, the theory is tweaked and changed and new excuses are made, and then it's all okay again, presumably. And I've explained in our reasoning and uncertainty video that this cannot work for a rational type of thinking. Now, it does seem that we like complicated theories, and you can cobble together a kind of quasi-explanation for this, at least I do. This is just a so story, but go with me here. The human species is adapted to small tribes living on the savanna in Africa, and in that environment it's better to see a lion that isn't there than to not see a lion that is there. It's better to see intentionality where it isn't there than to not see one when it is there. And especially that is true for sinister or evil, if you can call it that, intentions. So we tend to err in the direction of the complicated explanations, the patterns that are there, we think, but which aren't there in reality. And that would work well in small communities, and that has to deal with natural threats. Not so well when you're dealing with huge cities and global communication. Then ideas can spread and not being checked by people's gut feeling. They're just assimilated and become part of our thinking. Now, I say gut feeling because I do think that these kind of bugs can be overcome by conscious reasoning. I would say that's basically why we have conscious reasoning, in order to do a little better than simply going by instinct. Now, for those of you who have been following me on my reasoning under uncertainty clips, I think I can go even a little longer on this bug. The thing I think I recognize here is what's called a prior data feedback. This is from Bayesian statistics. The other school of statistics would call this a failure to recognize the zero hypothesis. So if you have a simple theory saying no intentionality, people do what people do without any sinister secret meetings, and one which says there is this huge secret and it has a lot of fudge factors, then as I said, that there should be some outcomes, some observations that could be evidence for and some against. But if you reason erroneously, if you first fit your complicated model to the data and then you evaluate it, compare it to the simpler one, then you are doing what I called using data twice. You're basically going in circles. This is the probabilistic or the inductive version of circular reasoning. And basically you're not giving the simple explanation a chance when you do this error. Now this kind of adjustment of the complicated theory can also give some kind of psychological reward, because you may feel like you're on a quest of discovery with this complicated conspiracy. When you find out that physicists are not supporting you, then suddenly you discover that the physicists are corrupt, for instance. You can do this with a toy example also. Just take a die and throw it many times and try to make a ad hoc pattern, recognize some kind of mathematical pattern there. It's fairly easy if you just throw it 2 or 3 or 4 times. Gets harder after a while, but I mean it can be fun for a while, at least if you're nerdy like me. So if you had this kind of conspiracy theory that somebody is controlling the dice for sinister purposes and have installed some kind of gyroscope thing in all the dices in the world, then you could make these kind of ad hoc patterns as part of this story. And you would constantly ask, okay, what would be the probability of getting this sequence if there was not any intention behind it? And if you're only focusing on that and not evaluating your own story, just adding and adding and adding complexity, then you're basically making this mistake. And I guess that is why conspiracy theories can start and flourish. And the thing about conspiracy theories is that they create enemies. Enemies you cannot ever stop fighting. And if your conspiracy theory is sinister enough, it can validate in your mind any kind of atrocious behavior on your part, and that's what we've seen here in Norway. We just have to consciously try to tear this bug out of our mind. it's not always the complicated, sinister explanation that makes us the grand hero of the play that is the right model. Try to see things from an outside perspective and always think of people as people, individuals. Then conspiracy theories will stop making sense, and hopefully you will avoid going into the same trap as this horrible murderer.